Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mentor Talk. As you know, your unique destination for insightful conversations with experienced professionals. And today I'm very, very glad to have Maria Kelly with me in the podcast. And as you know, I try to make a very good summary of the professional I'm talking to. So let's give me a chance, Maria, and please correct me if I'm wrong afterwards. So, if I'm right, you have over 20 years of experience in corporate life at Sotheby's, the re-owned art auction house, where you managed sales teams and established new global divisions in cities like New York and London, significantly increasing revenue and market share. In 2020, you moved to Spain and founded your own business, Ask Maria Kelly, which provides leadership, coaching, and training to companies, including small businesses, for example, also startups. And if I'm right, I guess you have the opinion that startups often don't realize they need services, like getting help from experts and may lack of budget, which I fully agree. And so it's super essential to collaborate not only with the startup CEOs, but also with their investors. So, Maria, I'm happy to have you with me in the podcast show today. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Suzette.
Yeah, I hope everything was correct, what I just
Yes.
put in a nutshell, right? Did
Yes,
I?
absolutely. You nutshelled it really well. I also do career coaching since the end of last year because there seems to be a big demand for that. So that's something I've added to my arsenal, and it's been going really well.
That's nice. So, and maybe we can speak a bit about your motivation. I mean, you worked so many years at Sotheby's and then you said, okay, bam, I am out. I am just doing my own thing. I mean, this is, very, very incredible. And I like what you did and I like also what you are doing right now. But maybe you can explain me what was your motivation?
Well, obviously, after 22 years in a corporate environment, I grew up in that company. So that was I had a few little jobs before, but that was my first serious job and I stayed really long. And when I left, I thought, well, I started looking for another job, obviously, but then I had a bit of time in between and that gave me time to actually think about what do I really want, which I never had time to do before, because when you're working in corporate, you're head down and you're just getting things done and you never sit back and think about yourself. And so that time gave me time to think, okay, what do I really want to do? First thing I realized is we were living in London at the time with my husband. So we'd come originally from Geneva, moved to New York, and then London with Sotheby's. And we never really fell in love with London. We liked, I mean, it's a beautiful city and all. We totally fell in love with New York. So I think there was a bit of a comparison game, which maybe it was a bit unfair in London, but our heart wasn't there. We knew that it was a temporary time. So my first realization was when I was in discussions about another job was that actually we don't want to stay in London. So I turned down the other job and we decided, okay, if we can live anywhere, where would we like to live? And we made a list and Barcelona, Spain just ticked all the boxes. And then we thought, well, okay, what are we going to do? We need to pay the bills. And that was the moment where I'm 48. I think, well, could I go and start my own business? Is that something I would want to do? I thought, well, if I don't try now, when am I going to try? Now is the time, because then afterwards it would be too late. So I thought, well, we thought, let's do this. Let's give it let's give it a shot and see if we can, go to Spain, move there, create our own business. And if it doesn't work, well, we can always do something else, go back to Switzerland or go somewhere else. So we decided to give it a shot, and then the pandemic hit. So this is February 2020 we made this decision. So
I was trying to ask you.
Perfect.
I was trying to ask you about a list. If you had maybe a list with pros and cons, right? To help to do this.
Not the pros and cons. Actually, I think we decided we were going to do it. We made a list about where we wanted to live. I did a little all the things that were important to us. But no, we didn't. For us, we were decided that we were leaving London. So it was just about deciding where we wanted to live. And then starting the business was, yeah, it was just, let's try and we'll see. And if it doesn't work, doesn't matter. We can always go back and find a job somewhere else. We didn't I'm very decisive person. I don't overthink things. I'm very action oriented. So yeah, so we just did it and no regrets. It's been 4 years that we moved here and 3 years that I started my business, and I'm very happy we made that decision.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that everything is working out very well. I mean, expectations, yeah, met finally.
Yeah.
And maybe you can explain how your work is actually, let's say, going, right? I mean, are you working together with startups, with again with corporates, or I mean, what do you do in general?
Yeah. So I'm just going to be clear. It wasn't all, rainbows and ponies, and starting your own business is hard. And I know lots of people on social media make it sound like amazing. It's really easy. Go start your side hustle, do this. It's not easy. It was a steep learning curve. I went from having global teams working for me to having to do everything myself. And I love learning this, and I'm still learning a lot, and it's great. But it is a big shock. It's a big difference. It's a lot of work. It's not easy, and yeah, you have to figure out, who are your clients, and you start with one idea of what you want to do, and it evolves. And that's something which I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs about this, where the ones that are starting, they want to wait till they know everything is perfect, that they have everything nailed down. Don't. Just start and you'll figure it out as you go, because the idea you have at the beginning of what you want to do and what it turns out to be are completely different.
Yeah, you're so right. It's changing. It's 100% changing every day. You have, let's say, a vision, what you would like to do. I mean, this was in my case the same, but today I'm handling different clients. I'm going with Sales Pro for You, looking for good mentors to help startups. I have never had a vision about that I am going to do this, in the next, I don't know, 5-10 years, who knows?
Yeah, no, exactly. And things come to you, people come to you. So at the beginning, so I had this grand plan where, okay, I'm done with corporate. Like corporate is, done. I don't want to go work with corporate anymore. I want to work with, small businesses, startups that are still very enthusiastic about their business, that want to grow, that care about their people, that care about their clients. Those are the people I want to work with. And then I realized that those people, as you mentioned earlier on, well, they don't know that they need you before it's too late often, because they just don't have that knowledge, that experience. And then they don't have money. So I was like, okay, so my target client has no money and doesn't know he needs me. So that's not a great start.
No, it isn't.
So I thought, okay, maybe I do have to work with a few corporate companies, which I did. I mean, I try to stay away, but your network comes to you. So people were coming to me. So I do work with companies, but I choose which ones I want to work with. And then also people, as I said, at the end of last year, people started coming to me individually because I was specializing helping people transition into new roles, like a managing director into a CEO role, or people changing companies. So I was helping them with these transitions. And that's when other people came to me saying, well, if you're doing transitions, do you do career coaching? Would you help, help people? I'm thinking about my next step, either people who are, wanting to change company, wanting to leave their job, or looking for a job, or within their company, trying to figure out how to get that promotion they've been wanting. So I've started doing that since the beginning of the year, and I'm enjoying that actually quite a lot, because it's really nice to feel like you're helping people grow. And then I've also been working, and that's where I feel now I'm really finding my niche. I've been working with small businesses, so small business owners, founders who've got to a point where they've grown their business to that point where they need to scale, and they don't know what they don't know, and they realize that they might need to bring people in. They're afraid that the culture is going to fall apart when they grow. They're afraid that their leadership team might not have the skills they need to bring it to the next level. And so I've been working with a bunch of those companies recently in last year, and I'm really enjoying too. And I feel like I can really add value because I'm bringing my international corporate experience of doing that at a much bigger scale. But within Sotheby's, there were, divisions and businesses, and I created businesses. I grew, I created divisions. So I was building businesses within the business, and I'm really having fun doing that. And I feel like I'm really adding value and helping those people in a way that I wanted to with the startup guys. If it makes sense.
Yes, this makes absolutely sense. So I'm so glad that you are sharing such an, I mean, also what to say, positive experience you made, but I'm also quite sure you made also some kind of, I won't call them negative, maybe we call them learning lessons or something like this. Maybe you can share some of those with me.
Of my learning as a business owner?
Yes, as a business owner.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to say, do you know this, there's event company that's called Fuck Up Nights. Do you know them?
No, I don't know.
It's a global event that they organize for entrepreneurs, events like once every 2 months, where people come in and they share their fuck ups, like their stories where it went sideways. And it's global. It's a huge organization. And so I go to these to listen to these stories because I find it always very interesting to hear, what went wrong. But one of the things that went wrong for me when I started my business, I basically started, and 2 months in, I started going to menopause. So not fun.
No, I mean, I'm a bit away from this scenario, right? Fortunately, but I can imagine what you are trying to explain. Yeah.
I mean, we all have an idea of what it is, but at the end of the day, we don't realize till it hits us. And I think, men as well as women don't realize. I had people working for me with menopause, and I could see them suffering, but I never realized how bad it could be. And for me, what was the hardest was you have okay, so you have the normal symptoms that everybody knows, but I had very drops of energy. So like throughout the day, you're like suddenly exhausted. I would have to lie down like 3 or 4 times a day. And I was like, I'm at home. I'm not in the office. I'm lucky I can. And I'd had brain fog. So like huge brain fog. So you can't think straight. And when you're starting a business, that's not great. Let's put it that way. And it's really hard to get things done when you have no energy and you're just like feeling like you're constantly trying to get your head straight. And one of the things I did in one of my very first clients is I charged them half the price I was supposed to charge them for what was it? For a year, I charged them for 6 months instead of a year. And it took me 3 days to realize it. So I discussed the price, we agreed, I created the contract, I sent them the invoice, everything. And 3 days later, in the middle of the night, I woke up and I was like, what? How much did I bill that client? And I realized I'd totally messed up. And obviously, I wasn't going to go back because it was my mistake. So I ate it. But that was a learning lesson to double check, triple check what you're doing, not rush into doing things. But yeah, and I think apart from that, I've been lucky that I haven't had any bad or experiences. I've been looking for help and support and asking advice to people who've done this before me. I have some great mentors. I've joined some communities online and now in person here in Barcelona. So I have people to go to ask for advice, and I've been trying to learn as much as I could about how to do things, how to make them, how to be productive, efficient, automate everything, so that because I'm a one woman band, and you have to make sure that your time is used efficiently.
Thank you so much, Maria. I mean, you mentioned fuck ups. It was not me. I was trying to be polite with learning lessons, but it's very funny.
Sorry, you can beat me out.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So for me, it's perfect. Okay, back to the fuck up situation. So
yeah.
now I can just use it, legally.
Yeah.
when you are working with such small companies, for example, startups, but also SMEs, right?
Yeah.
What kind of fuck ups get you in touch with, doing such collaborations with those clients?
Why they come to me?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so it could be several things. It could be, as I said, the founder realizing like, okay, I need to scale and I don't know how. It's like something as simple like I need some advice on what I need to do next. It can be some internal issues that emerge because when you start growing and you start a small business, it's all very family and everybody knows each other and it's all very casual. And then it comes a point where if you want to grow the business, you start have to put in place some structure and some organization. And that can create some tension and bring in outside people. And then these people come in and they need to integrate the culture, which the team that's there is very protective of it because they're very close to each other. And it's how do you maintain the culture with the new people coming in without, having too many issues, but still growing the business. So there's a lot of little things that start going sideways. And that if you're not careful, I know I don't have the numbers in mind, but I know lots of companies who grow too fast and then they go up and they crash because they haven't thought about these things. They haven't thought about cash flow. They haven't thought about how to manage all these new people that they're hiring. It's not just by getting a ping pong table and giving them Fridays off that, your business is going to scale in a positive way. They need to have some structure. They need to understand how to manage the people. So there's lots of little things that can go wrong. And then also, yes, if you have a leadership team and your business is growing, you need to make sure that these leaders are all aligned, like everybody's working together. Because if you're not, that's when things can start going sideways also. It's so making sure your leadership has a common vision and common understanding and that they work well together, because then it trickles down. If the people at the top are clear and collaborative, the others will be too. If there's some problems up here, it trickles down too.
You are absolutely right. So I just made the experience of supporting a company by launching a new product. And the internal communication just flopped because there wasn't any. So no one of the employees was really supporting the launch of the product. So I mean, it's not about only scaling up. It could be also just, a bad situation if you have a new product and you would like to launch it, but nobody of your company is supporting this product. So I completely understand what you are explaining. Yeah.
I mean, communication for me is like the number one issue in all these, because it's always a communication issue.
That's right. I would like also to stress again the topic about the startups and the investors, because, it catched my attention. So I'm so sorry for this, because
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
we at Sales Pro for You, we are also trying to help startups or small companies, with mentors like you to connect those, two entities with each other or two parties. So how could you convince, a startup CEO that you need the help of Maria, that you can just ask Maria? Or how could Maria talk to an investor who is supporting us, giving money to such startup? So what to do?
Well, I think that's what I figured out. I realized that, the startups might want to work with me, but then they can't afford me. And it's in speaking with somebody who has a startup actually, and who got investors. And it was a conversation with her who sort of sparked this in me, and realizing that actually I should be speaking to the investors and who have portfolios, and they have the money to then send in people to help the startups get where they need to be. So it's about building those relationships with investors, getting to know them, getting them to know you, what you offer as a service and how you can help. And then, being the go-to person, hopefully, for some investors when they invest or purchase a new company that they know needs some guidance, some support, some training, some mentoring, to come to me to help them.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, they have the money, right? I mean, they have the belief, they have the money, but they just have no time, right, to support
exactly.
their, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I would like to ask you one more question.
Sure.
So, what kind of advice would you give to the listeners of our episode today? So it could be a small business, it could be a corporate company, it could be anyone. So I'm curious.
An advice about anything?
Anything. What comes up to your mind right now? I mean, of course, related to business would be
Yeah,
nice,
yeah,
but
yeah. Kind of advice. Well, I think so for anybody starting, whether it's a startup or a business, it's like my advice is start, start doing it and figure it out as you go. Definitely that's something I learned along the way. And I think it's about stepping outside your comfort zone and doing things that scare you a little bit, because that's when you grow. And I feel we don't take often the time to sit back and think about what we really want, where we're going, and we're just like, so we start and then we're just doing. I think it's really important to take the time to sit back and reflect on what we're doing and where we're going and adjusting. Is this working? Is this not working? Is there things we need to, do differently, rather than just do and then see what falls in place or not. So my advice to whoever, whatever you're doing is go ahead, do it, but take the time to evaluate constantly what you're doing, track what you're doing, what's working, what's not. And if it's not working, it's okay, just move on, do something else. Just don't let things be. I think you have to be a bit resilient when you're, whether it's a startup or an entrepreneur, you have to have a bit of resilience where you're not afraid to fail and to pass on to the next thing so you can move forward.
Thank you so much, Maria. Yeah, I will take this advice with me, and I will also sit back after this episode and, rethink about what we just spoke. And I would like now to close the episode of today. So thank you, Maria Kelly. It was a pleasure talking to you. And
Thank
to
you.
the audience, as usual, remember, success is a journey, and having the guidance and the wisdom of an experienced professional like Maria Kelly makes all the difference. So thank you so much, Maria. It was a pleasure talking to you. Maybe we can do just another episode, maybe in another language. I don't know which one.
And I can do French if you want. I'd love to. Thank you very much for having me, Suzette.
It was great. Thank you, Maria. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.